Tonight on Raw, the highly anticipated arrival of Broken Matt to the WWE has happened, and we have Bray Wyatt to thank for that. The broken brilliance of Matt Hardy has been woken by the consumer of celestial entities, and the battle between these two masters of mind games has begun. A battle that could very well tear the fabric of reality, disrupt the space-time continuum, and end in deletion for us all. The General has made his call. The Great War is here, and it could save the WWE and Monday Night Raw and make it great for all of us once again.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Hey yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you so much for tuning in to Sledgehammer TV tonight for your official Monday Night Raw for Monday, December the 4th, 2017. My name, of course, is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is my little buddy, my trusty tag team partner, and the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, and we are here on a very historic night for Monday Night Raw. Before we get into tonight's show, don't forget to like this video if you enjoy the broadcast. Smash that thumbs up for us. Subscribe if you are new to the Sledgehammer Club and this is your first time viewing the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. And as always, share this video with your friends. Anybody that you think would enjoy the show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Nick Nightmare. It's right down there. If you don't know how to spell it, you could find me on the Twit Zone at that tag right there. And also, don't forget to check out our Facebook page and become a fan over there. Would much appreciate that. And as always, this show is brought to you guys by Clutch Chairs, our sponsor, which the link will be down in the description below for you guys to check out if you want to see some great chairs and whatever they got for you WWE fans over there at Clutch Chairs. So thank you guys so much. Tonight on Raw, let's cut right down to the BS though. You know, it was a good show. It was actually a good show for once, but not because of everything they decided to do. For once, I enjoyed the wrestling that was going on. The stories that were behind some of the stuff that was going on did not make sense. There was way too much Jason Jordan tonight. We'll get into that. But I appreciate good wrestling. Everybody loves to watch wrestling. That's why we tune in to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and everything that the WWE offers. At the end of the day, we want to see wrestling. We definitely got to see some good wrestling tonight. The nonsense that goes on outside of the wrestling, and the logic is still not there, but we did have what everybody's here to probably talk about. You see me wearing the armor, as I said in that special little opening, which I hope you enjoyed. I put that little graphic together. I actually put it together for something else I was planning to use, but then with what went down tonight on Raw, I had to throw it out there at the intro, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm ready. I'm ready for the Great War. I've been ready for 8 months. Since Matt Hardy has stepped foot back in the WWE, all I ever wanted was not just to see him be broken, but was to see him be broken and go up against Bray Wyatt. These are absolutely two equal performers. Bray Wyatt has never had this at his disposal before. Bray Wyatt has never had a performer who believes in his character and will absolutely bring all his best ideas to the table and be so much more creative. If the WWE does the right thing here and allows Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt to create and craft however crazy of a story it might be. If you're a fan of the Broken Universe and you are familiar with what went down in TNA and the final deletions and Delete or Decay and all of those great moments we got, and we saw Vanguard 1 and Senor Benjamin and Rebby was involved, this thing could grow so huge that, like I said, it could very well save this company from itself. If you get this one angle over, everybody's going to be watching Raw just to see what's happening between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. And if tonight's little promo is any indication, what was that? It couldn't have been more than 3 minutes. It was absolutely the most entertaining 3 minutes of the evening for me outside of the wrestling. I was sitting in this chair, and I happened to be watching it at my desk, and I couldn't keep myself from laughing out loud. And it was a joyful laugh. It was one of the most fantastic things I have seen happen on Raw all year long. Matt Hardy's gibberish and his nonsense and the way he delivers that character, playing off the serious yet sinister tones of Bray Wyatt, absolutely is going to make for some fantastic television. This is only the beginning, and I am already stoked as shit, you guys. I cannot wait to see next Monday. And in the end, that's what it's all about. If they did one thing tonight, for the first time ever this year, they've made me anticipate next week with almost, I have no patience. I want it to be Monday tomorrow now, just to see how this goes. And that means that it was a good show. Everything else, and we will get back to the Bray Wyatt thing. I think I wrote down a few points here in my notes, just some things we're going to go over. But of course, we are here to talk about the show in its and of itself. Which, okay, we start off, we are live at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Always a pretty good crowd out there in LA. I expected them to be into the show, and they absolutely were, right from this first match. Now, I'm going to be honest, as I always am, because that's what we do here. We don't sugarcoat shit, and we don't pull punches, and we bring the hammer down where it's needed. And when you put Jason Jordan up against Roman Reigns, it doesn't matter whether or not it's for the title. I have no interest. Zero. None. It's like giving me my two least favorite foods and then making me have to pick one. I don't want to put either one of them in my mouth. I don't like them both equally. It's the same scenario here. It's like you don't know who do you want to boo less in this scenario. I was not a fan of this match as it began. However, this would end up just being a showcase for how much of a beast Jason Jordan really is in that ring. And we got to give a little bit of credit to Roman. He put on a great match. But whoever's booking his segments and whatever agent is doing Roman Reigns' matches, they have fallen back on this same old shit with him. And instead of having a fairly evenly fought back and forth contest, you had Jason Jordan coming out looking like a superstar. He was going to the well with suplex after suplex after suplex. He had the upper hand on Roman, seemingly, for most of this match. Only for Roman to come out and hit the one friggin' move, the spear at the end, and it's over. Boom. It's the same thing. It's that John Cena syndrome, that Hulk Hogan thing from the 80s that just doesn't translate anymore. It doesn't sell. It's not realistic. That a man can be beaten up and just taken to the woodshed for nearly 20 minutes and then come out with the win on top. It's lazy storytelling. It's absolutely lazy, and I did not like the story. But the match was very, very good. Jason Jordan looked fantastic. Probably the best he's looked in the ring since he's started this adopted wrestling son thing that he's doing, and I just really didn't care, even with the outcome of the match. And then I was only more fearful that we were going to have to see more We got nearly 20 minutes out of these guys. Like, almost actually the first 40 minutes of this show were dedicated to Jason Jordan and Roman Reigns. After the opening promo segment where Angle started this whole thing. And Jason Jordan just keeps coming out like a whiny kid. Oh, come on, Dad, you gotta give me a match. Come on, Dad. Nah. I hate it. It's so nonsensical and it's just so illogical. I can't stand it. But the match was good. You got to give these guys credit. Bigger story coming out of this match was Samoa Joe's post-match attack after Roman Reigns wins this match. Jason Jordan once again would take it upon himself to interfere, showing some tenacity and more of his power by trying to take out Samoa Joe. Now they come back from commercial after all the nonsense is all settled in the ring and nothing really happened. Right at the end of the whole thing, Roman Reigns wins and everything else was just chaos. And then they come back and we go back to Jason Jordan again and he's crying to his dad and Kurt Angle got mad. He's like, hey, stop telling me what to do. You're my son, stop coming in here with demands. And then he's like, well, I'll take it under advisement. You want Samoa Joe now because he got a piece of you outside. And then as this is going down, Samoa Joe comes out of nowhere and absolutely wrecks Jason Jordan in the back, right in front of his old man. Best part of the whole thing was Joe getting in Kurt's face. Like, what, Kurt? Like father, like son, huh? And I would love to see Kurt Angle get in the ring with Samoa Joe again. You guys, if you have never seen them lock up, I've seen them plenty of times in TNA. It's absolutely beautiful. These guys have tremendous chemistry. It would be a great story. I would love to see that now that Kurt Angle's come back to an in-ring capacity of some sort. But we'll have to wait for that. But, that's it. I was afraid after this happened that we were going to have to see this Samoa Joe versus Jason Jordan match tonight on Monday Night Raw, and that this was just going to be the Jason Jordan show. This wouldn't be the last time we would see Jason Jordan tonight, coincidentally. After this, we have the women's segment. We have Paige versus Sasha Banks. Again, much like what we just talked about with Reigns and Jordan. Paige versus Sasha Banks is a pay-per-view match. Why would you make that be Paige's first match back? Why not have Paige go over on Mickie James? That's her job at this point. She's the veteran that's supposed to be there. She has name value. She's been putting over everybody else. Why not have Paige go one-on-one against the legend, the veteran Mickie James? Let Mickie James get her shoulders pinned to the mat to establish some momentum for the returning Paige. I don't even want to talk about the goons on the outside. I don't even want to talk about them too, because they are a non-factor to me. I pretend that they're not even there. I'm doing the best I can to pretend that Paige looks the same as she used to. For some reason, she just looks weird to me. She does not look like the Paige that I remember. I don't know if she got paler or if she did something to her face. She's only 20-something years old. I hope that's definitely not the case. Maybe she's just doing her makeup differently. I don't know. But there's just something seemingly off about Paige. And she comes out with her minions, right? So then that would prompt Sasha Banks to come out and she brings Mickie James and Bayley. Because we got to have everybody on the show, right? Instead of just having a one-on-one match and leaving everybody else in the back. If you're going to do it, why do it right? Why not just make a big mess out of it, which is exactly what they did. This is Paige's first match back in over 1 year. The Absolution did cause a slight distraction, which did allow Paige to pick up the win. At the end, who cares? Who really cares? You gave away a main event pay-per-view match that could essentially be for number one contendership or even for the title at some point. You just gave it away. Paige's first match back. Let's just blow her through everybody and get her to Asuka. Because that is definitely the road that they're trying to pave. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm not with it right now. I think Paige needs to establish herself on her comeback a little more. And by beating Sasha Banks and by taking away all these bigger matches so quickly, you're going to have her suffer the same fate that you did with Shinsuke Nakamura. As you had him just run through everybody. John Cena, Randy Orton. Everybody you could throw at him, you threw at him only to have him laid down for Jinder Mahal. Is that the same thing you're going to do to Asuka? You're going to do the same thing to Paige. Rather, you're going to have her mow down everybody. She's going to end up getting the title from Alexa Bliss. And then you're going to have her just lay down for Asuka. So sacrificing everybody to build up a character that's already fairly well established. Only to sacrifice her to the lady who's going to lead your women's division. If they decide to start using her a little more properly. We'll get to that in a minute. It just doesn't make sense to me. So again, their wrestling was great, but the story behind it absolutely did not make sense to me. Elias is backstage. He asks for another Intercontinental title shot, accusing Kurt Angle of nepotism. Kurt Angle says that he will find him a suitable opponent for tonight, since Elias only has a concert on deck, and since he's looking for a fight, Kurt's going to bring him one. We would have to suffer through a promotional package and have to revisit everything we've seen with Braun Strowman and Kane, as if seeing it once wasn't enough. It's more than enough to make me lose my dinner. I could care less. I really could. This is the most pointless storyline they have put Braun Strowman in since he was squashing jobbers. Because that's all Kane is a big red jobber. 50-year-old, irrelevant relic from the 90s who should just be sticking to his political aspirations and get the hell away from the ring. You are doing no service to Braun Strowman. No matter how much damage you do to him prior to him beating you and going over and finally establishing himself as the true monster of Monday Night Raw of this new generation, or however they want to tag it, it's just become too much for me. It's not going to make a lick of difference. Braun Strowman is already over. He's beaten everybody that he's needed to beat to get over. He got over on his own. And what are you doing? You're wasting him. You're wasting him. You failed to pull the trigger on giving him the Universal Championship when you should have, and allow Brock Lesnar to take all this time off, and then you could have gave it back to Brock. You could have had Braun Strowman lose it back to Brock. It would have done no harm to anybody's character at all. But instead, we have to see him fighting the Big Red Nothing. The Big Red Meaningless Machine. Who just wants to be known as the Monster now. You were the Big Red Machine. Why does he have to be called the Monster now? It's just a stupid feud, and I hate it. Speaking of stupid feuds, Enzo Amore was featured with his Zo Train backstage and hyping up Tony Abs, Tony Nese, and Drew Gabagulak. I just like saying that, Gabagulak. It's fun. Rolls right out your mouth. Gabagulak. Try it out, Gabagulak. You liked it. I know you did. Let me know in the comments below. Gabagulak. Hashtag Gabagulak. Throw it in the comments. Just for fun. Why not? What the hell? So, the more interesting thing, this was the lead-in segment for the second Fatal 4-Way, which is going to determine who is going to face Rich Swann to be crowned the number one contender for Enzo Amore's Cruiserweight Championship. And it will be Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, Cedric Alexander, and Mustafa Ali. But before we would get to that match, Nia Jax would make her only appearance on this night to get in Enzo's face and ask him how he's doing. And she asked him in such a way where I can't help but believe that they've got a romance angle brewing between Nia Jax and Enzo. And I don't want to see that. That is an absolute waste of Nia Jax. That is almost James Ellsworth level. You are going to attach her to a failing talent like Enzo Amore? I don't care what kind of accolades you want to throw on. You want to say that, oh, he's the face of 205 Live. He's carrying the Cruiserweight division. What Cruiserweight division? What we saw last week and what we saw tonight in the Fatal 4-Way is a rarity for the WWE's main roster as far as it goes for the Cruiserweights. The Cruiserweight division is dead. 205 Live is dead. You think by putting him with Nia Jax it's going to help Nia Jax in some way? Or are you trying to help Enzo Amore? What would be the point of this coming out of nowhere and she's just going to be attracted to tiny little Enzo? Why? I don't like it. Obviously, if you couldn't tell by my comments, it was absolutely stupid. Stupid for me. It made me flip my paper very angrily. That's how mad it was. 2 weeks in a row, we had a great match for the Cruiserweight division. This was an absolutely great and entertaining Fatal 4-Way. The crowd was all over it. 2 absolutely tremendous spots in this match. The first one going to Mustafa Ali with an absolutely beautiful springboard Spanish fly from the top rope to Cedric Alexander for the match's closest near fall up until that point. And the finish, which would be a not so beautiful, it was a little sloppy, I'm always honest, like I said, hammer, bang, right down. Cedric Alexander delivered a very sloppy, very sloppy lumbar check to Mustafa Ali, but Gabagolak would blindside Cedric Alexander, and he would very clumsily make his way to the outside. He kind of hit the bottom rope to the point where he stopped his momentum, where logic would be like, well, if you stopped, why would you continue to roll out? Why would you not at least attempt to roll yourself back in and attempt to break up the pin, even if it's the finish? Like, make yourself look smart. Like, oh, I didn't make it to the outside. Let me try to get there. Oh, I missed. No, but I'm going to hit the ropes. I'm going to bounce back in, and then I'm going to roll myself out as if I don't know there's a 3 count going on. Just made it look a little silly to me, but that's just me nitpicking. Gabagooks, he gets the win here. And again, here's where the logic takes over and takes away from a great quality match. Because if you really want people to get invested in 205 Live, you have to take your premier talent and put them in the high-profile matches, do you not? There is no more premier talent than a Cedric Alexander. Probably the all-star of the Cruiserweight Classic, at least in the first 2 or 3 opening rounds. This was the first guy throughout the entirety of the tournament that got the crowd to appeal to Triple H to sign him. And since you've done that, you've done nothing but make him look like garbage. I'm sorry. Just like I told you how they highlighted the way this thing came to an end. It's just foolish to me. Cedric Alexander versus Rich Swann next week on Monday Night Raw is an absolute draw to knowledgeable fans who know their Cruiserweight wrestling, who have followed the Cruiserweight Classic. You see that match, you're going to tune in next week. You're going to hope to God they've been giving it the attention that these last 2 matches have gotten so that they could actually give you something beautiful, which they are more than capable of. That main event, that match could main event a Monday Night Raw. These 2 guys are that good. And it would sell the world on the Cruiserweight division if given proper time and given proper care and a quality finish. But with the way that they're going, it doesn't look like that's their priority, and they're prioritizing this Enzo and the Zo Train storyline. Because Drew Gulak winning tonight only makes me believe that he is going to beat Rich Swann next week, so that there will be some sort of a conflict and a little bit more of a story to try to weave for Enzo and the Zo Train to bring more eyes to 205 Live. Inner turmoil in the Zo Train. The PowerPoint caboose of the train is railing off the stations and trying to take out the engine. It may be okay, because Gabagooks, he's pretty good on the mic. He's pretty funny. The PowerPoint thing got over with me. And he does work opposite Enzo Amore in that teaming. Like, it's been somewhat entertaining, as much as I think it's taken away from the division by not highlighting the wrestling. It has been some funny stuff and some entertaining stuff between these two, and I could only hope that it turns into something good. But I do not have much faith in that, and I would have much rather seen Rich Swann versus Cedric Alexander next week, with Cedric Alexander going on to defeat Enzo Amore for that championship and actually start bringing some legitimacy to the Cruiserweight title. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. We move on to Elias in Concert, where he very beautifully teared apart the city of LA and the fans in attendance to a great round of boos. He is an absolute heat magnet. He knows what he's doing. He's great at what he does, and I love Elias, and I definitely want to walk with him no matter where he goes. And tonight would be someplace I actually would think twice about walking with Elias, as he was given that opponent by Kurt Angle, and in the middle of his song, we would be treated to Braun coming out to the ring. But I didn't get too overly excited, because first of all, this doesn't make sense. Why would you send him out to once again destroy the momentum of a rising Elias? So again, logic kicks in, and you almost automatically know it's seemingly as predictable as a snowball melting in hell that Kane is somehow, some way, going to pop up, even though it was not physically, as we were treated to his ugly leather red face on the Titantron, and he said some shit about being the only monster, and he's going to show Braun Strowman, and blah, blah, blah. Once again, give me a break. I could care less. We've already covered why I hate all that. We're not going to go back into that. Absolutely boring as shit, and I did not care. After this, speaking of not caring, we had to recap the whole beginning of the show, and all we had to see was more of Jason Jordan, and they made sure to highlight the fact that we're seeing Jason Jordan. Oh, Jason Jordan put on a show, put on a clinic. Yeah, it was great, but it doesn't make sense. So let's just move away from that and go on. After this, we get to see Roman Reigns in the back holding the Intercontinental Championship properly for once, and the crowd in LA booed away, as you would expect. And within seconds, Rollins and Ambrose would come in, and the boos immediately turned into cheers. So you tell me if the experiment is succeeding or failing. I think it's fairly obvious in that one 30-second interview segment, where the most entertaining thing was the fact that Ambrose was playing them as he pretended he didn't know tonight they were having a championship match. Big deal. Terrible writing, but it was the Shield, so it was alright. Not going to say it was kind of anything. It was alright. Could have been better. This is an interesting little thing I wrote here. They promoted John Cena's appearances this week on the Tonight Show, right? And Today. The Today Show. He's going to be on the Today Show and the Tonight Show. Fantastic. But they show the graphic up in the arena. They make the announcement. And the crowd boos like crazy. So, again, this is nothing new. The crowd is so tired of seeing the people that you want to shove down our throats. And if he's not going to be here wrestling, we don't want to even hear about him. Let us be free for one night, at least. God forbid they do that with Roman Reigns. Holy shit. Imagine a night of Monday without the big dog, not because he has the meningitis, but because, hey, maybe it'll be good for the story to give this guy a break. Let a week or two go by. Let the people maybe miss him. Maybe want to see him. I don't know. I don't think that'll ever happen. I'm just speculating there. I'm getting a little off track. Asuka. Nobody's ready for Asuka. Neither is Alicia Fox. This match was short, but it was still too long. And my biggest complaint comes in the form of the fact that Alicia Fox actually got a 2 count on the Empress of Tomorrow in this very short 4-minute time span. If they were going to allow Alicia Fox to land any offense at all, why would they allow her to get a 2 count? Asuka should have kicked out before the ref dropped to his knees, and then I would be a lot more forgiving of it. But for me to believe that Asuka is not strong enough to withstand a kick from Alicia Fox and be down to the mat for a 2 count, that's not believable to me. Especially when it happened in like the first 2 minutes of the match, after Asuka had the upper hand for the majority of this 3 minutes. And then finally we would get the Asuka lock. You know, they were headed in the right direction with the Dana Brooke thing. I thought every match from this point on was going to be like that until they got to an upscale, much more important, higher profile match. But they gave some offense to Fox, maybe because she's a veteran, but it made no sense. Asuka should have wiped the floor with her 30 seconds flat. Instead, we got about 4 minutes from these two girls. Absolution comes out in a repeat of what happened last week. They surround the ring Shield style once again. Alicia Fox did not get to leave the ringside area just yet, but Asuka backed away once again, smiling the whole way as if she thinks this is all a big joke and she's finding it amusing, just as I am, to a point. And then the most interesting thing of this whole segment, Paige would hit the ring. She would address Alicia Fox. If you're a fan of Total Divas or you follow these girls on social media, you know that they are very, very good friends, that they are amongst each other's best of friends. Paige made that very clear tonight, telling the world she's my best friend and I love her. But Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville over there, not so much. And then the two girls would absolutely tear apart poor little Foxy Cleopatra, and we probably won't be seeing her again anytime soon, if we're lucky. If we're not lucky, she'll be there next week like nothing even happened tonight. We had a little bonus match here, and I'm going to call this a bonus match because you don't see a match like this every day, and you guys on the outside looking in might not see this as a big match, but this was actually a big match, and you might never know it, and that's why I'm here to enlighten you guys. 2 former NXT champions, 2 of the longest reigning NXT champions, and 2 of the most talented and underutilized wrestlers on the roster went toe-to-toe tonight in a Monday Night Raw ring, and it may have went right over your head, as Finn Balor went one-on-one with Bo Dallas of the Miztourage. And I'm going to once again be honest, because that's what I do. When Bo Dallas came out with the Miz music hitting and everything, at first I was like, seemed like a waste of Finn Balor. But then my brain kicked in, and I started to remember that Bo Dallas is not the jobber that they make him seem to be, and that this just might be a surprise good match. Which it actually was. And you shouldn't be surprised, for the reasons that I told you at the top of this thing. These guys are 2 of the best names NXT has ever put out there. But the WWE, going back as far as when Bo Dallas was called up, has notoriously failed at putting over NXT talent. Bo Dallas is a world-class athlete and a world-class sports entertainer. He had a great gimmick with the Bo Leave thing. They just didn't get behind him. The machine didn't like it. And now we have this. And I'm okay with this if I can keep getting matches like this. Now, it should have been better. Based on the way I built them up at the top of this thing, Finn Balor versus Bo Dallas could be a main event anywhere in the world with proper build and proper time. This match was just a little bit too short. These guys probably didn't get in everything they wanted to get in, and there was a little bit of back and forth, and Bo Dallas would gain the advantage at one point as Curtis Axel would cause a distraction to Finn Balor as he went to the top rope on the outside. But regardless of Bo Dallas's advantage and his ground style that he was pulling and trying to get and wear down Finn Balor and trying to get him to tap out to some submission style wrestling, it just would not be enough, and we would get what everybody gets from Finn Balor every single time they get into the ring with him, and unless Vince McMahon has something to say with it, we get the finish being the Sling Blade, followed by that corner missile dropkick and the coup de grace from the top rope, which was very impressive tonight because Bo Dallas was almost right in the middle of the ring. He was not close to the ring post as most people get to take this spot, and Finn Balor hit it clean and crisp and beautiful for the 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor wins, Bo Dallas loses, no surprise there. I guess the only reason Finn Balor won tonight was because he was up against Bo Dallas, who I'm sure in Vince McMahon's eyes is way less over than Finn Balor is. So, finally a good one for Finn Balor. Corey Graves says, in one of the rare bad moments he has of the night, Finn Balor continues his momentum. What continue, bro? This is the first time this guy's got a legit win in maybe months on the roster. Continues to build momentum. Let's try to be honest with ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. After this match, we would have the biggest and happiest moment of the night, like we covered at the top of the show. Bray Wyatt has awoken Matt Hardy. Finally, in a 2 to 3 minute segment, a war of words, if you will, between these two gentlemen, where we would see the General, Matt Hardy, start the Great War and fire the first shot by sentencing Bray Wyatt to deletion. The first member of the WWE Universe that is in the crosshairs for deletion is the Eater of Worlds, or the Consumer of Celestial Entities, as Matt Hardy put it tonight. He was absolutely fantastic. It was so great to see that character again. I have been missing it for so long. It was the sole reason why I even watched TNA Impact Wrestling at the close of last year before everything really went to shit over there. And I can't wait to see what the future brings. If you guys didn't see it, I'm sure the WWE has it up on the website. Bray Wyatt back and forth intercut promos with Matt Hardy. It was absolutely fantastic. It made me laugh out loud. It got me all amped up. It got goosebumps going all over me. It was a very, very exciting moment. A historic moment. They don't like to tell you when it's actually historic. When something they need to hype, like a woman's hell in a cell, they'll tell you it's historic a million times. But this was a historic confrontation. This was a great moment for pro wrestling. And we should all be very, very excited for what's to come. Finally on this night, the Raw Tag Team titles were up for grabs as the Bar, the Raw Tag Team Champions, went up against Rollins and Ambrose of the Shield, and this was a great main event. You know, I'm coming off a little bit of a high with the Matt Hardy thing, and they went right into this main event, and these, again, like we keep telling you, my only complaint is that I'm almost a little tired of seeing these combinations of guys. How many times can we possibly see this foursome be paired together? Sheamus, I know, is working through an injury, so I very much assumed, as I said last week, I fully expected the Shield to walk away with the Raw Tag Team Championships tonight, but that was certainly not the case. We had a very solid tag team bout with great action, very equal offense back and forth at the onset of this thing, but then the Bar would take over and they would dominate the majority of this match, isolating both men in separate times in the match and taking them out, only leaving the other one wide open to double team attacks and exposed for beat down, and controlling the offense for the majority of this whole entire match. Towards the end, we would have an absolutely spectacular spot by Seth Rollins. He would deliver a top rope superplex and then would roll through and turn it into a Falcon's Arrow for what would be the nearest fall that Rollins and Ambrose would get before the champs would get frustrated. Most specifically, Sheamus would get extra frustrated and take his frustrations out on Dean Ambrose and not pay attention to the referee's 5 count as he would continue his assault and intentionally get his team disqualified so that they could retain their tag team championships. However, the general manager would not have Monday Night Raw go off the air under such controversy and would restart this match under no disqualification rules. Rollins and Ambrose immediately took to the air and started their attack, doing dueling tope suicidas through the top and second rope, hitting the bar on the outside. They would continue their attack onto the inside, and then Samoa Joe would reemerge. So now what do you think is going to happen? This was a little bit predictable, because who's going to come out to help his Shield brethren, right? Roman Reigns, of course, comes out to the ring to try to even the odds. Samoa Joe already did the damage by creating the distraction. He would run away from the ringside area, so Roman Reigns would jump into the ring, deliver a Superman punch to Cesaro, and then start chasing Samoa Joe outside into the fans, which left Dean Ambrose open to the receiving end of a brogue kick from Sheamus, who would cover Dean Ambrose's lifeless body with Cesaro's dilapidated corpse from receiving that Superman punch, and the Bar would controversially retain their World Tag Team titles, much to my surprise. And it was a very cool image seeing Samoa Joe standing behind the Bar. And I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but you know what I mean as a wrestling fan, as they held their titles high, walking up through the fans, much like the Shield comes down to the ring. And that would be Monday Night Raw tonight. It was all, really tonight, it was all about Matt Hardy. Tonight was all about Matt Hardy. Jason Jordan actually was very impressive, and this could have been a coming out party for him, but his character's so stale, man. The character, the Angle Son thing, it's stale. And it's not believable. And the heat that the kid gets is tremendous. And if they could find a way to turn him heel right now and pull the trigger on him revealing to Angle that he's using him, like, he will be one of the biggest heels on the roster. And the way he performed against Roman Reigns tonight, you can't help but believe he'd be able to back it up in the ring, because eventually this kid's going to start winning. And I think all he needs to do is get that little change of attitude, and maybe some of us will actually start getting behind Jason Jordan. Until then, I want to stop seeing this crap. All in all, this was a good show. This was a good show. It could have been great. It had one outstanding historic moment, and I am very excited for next week's Raw. Only for one man, but better than being excited for nothing. Thank you so much. That is going to do it for tonight's Raw review. Don't forget to check out everything else on the channel this week. We got the SmackDown Live review coming up for you guys tomorrow night. We put up all kinds of updates this weekend. We talked about a former WWE Women's Champion wrestling her last match. We talked about Dolph Ziggler being unhappy with the WWE. And then we had a very big Part 1 this weekend, where we talked about the Bullet Club's 2018 plans and the possible return of Daniel Bryan and what that has to do with Cody Rhodes and his plans for 2018. Don't forget to check out all that stuff. We got all our top 5 videos. We got the top 10 things wrong with 2K18. If you've missed anything, feel free to go back and check it out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out Clutch Chairs, follow me on Twitter, check us out on Facebook, do all of those things for me, and you will have supported this channel, and I appreciate you for that and love you guys so very much. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is Blue, the Snowball Microphone, who's just as happy with tonight's Raw as I am. He's not over the moon, but we'll take it. We'll take it, especially after what we've been given as of late. The World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones says thank you guys so much. That is going to do it, and we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on the newest, fastest wrestling podcast in all of the YouTube wrestling community. If you didn't know before the start of this show, you definitely know it now. And say it loud, say it proud with me. The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, right here on Sledgehammer TV, only on YouTube.com. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you tomorrow night for the SmackDown Live review. Have a good night. See you then.